Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, ASIATHABIRD. To have a very special guest with me today, she is a nail artist and educator. Please welcome back Chloe, aka Glam Nails. Hello, Chloe, and welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely want to go ahead and get started by asking, like, it's been over a year since we did our first podcast interview.
Mhm.
So, how has life been like since that time?
It's been good and it's been crazy. It's the best. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's been really, really good. It's been really bananas. I stopped working full time in the salon to focus on the web stuff, like
Mhm.
the store and everything, and
Right.
the digital products, and then also doing more education. So that's cool. And just kind of putting myself out there in a different way than I did before. I've been doing
Right.
a few UGC gigs for nail companies, so that was cool.
Mhm.
So yeah, just trying to change it up. Not, just always keeping it fresh.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, most definitely. Now, in what ways has your perspective, changed about the nail industry?
I definitely feel like, especially for new people coming in, there's a lot of opportunity here and a lot of money to be made. You
Hmm.
just have to know what you want to do. And what you
Right.
want to do can actually change, year over year, week over week. It doesn't always have to be everything set in stone.
Right.
But I definitely feel like the industry is getting bigger. We're getting a little bit more, like hairstylists. They're like, oh, hairstylists always gotta be on time, $7, $8, $9,000 per service or whatever, exaggeration there. But
Yeah,
now I feel
yeah,
like nail techs are getting their just due. Like, oh, right, nails is a part of it. Because if you look at advertising, they got nails.
yeah, exactly.
So I mean, I feel like we coming up. We coming up. We been here, but not everybody else is realizing like, oh yeah, we gotta have nails for every look, for every video.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the thing is also too, like the education has expanded so much.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So it has gotten a lot more into education as far as like nail prep, as far as the different types of nail art. I know you're teaching airbrushing techniques
Yeah.
and things like that. So it's really cool to see also as well how nail education has broadened so much.
Yeah, definitely growing the industry. And then I'm seeing a little bit more trying to educate the customer on what they should and shouldn't be doing. And I'm
Right.
liking that because I really
Mhm.
do want customers to be conscious. Like, just because they say it's true doesn't make it true. Do your own research.
Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. So you currently offer a nail art subscription. Tell us more about the nail art subscription.
Oh, yeah. So the nail art subscription was like my new brainchild over the summertime. I was like, well, a lot of
Right.
people want to learn airbrush, but they really want the feel of like working with me one on one, and they still want to get like all the classes that I come out with all the time. So I
Right.
came up with the subscription. It's a new lesson every single week, so they get 4 lessons a
Mhm.
week. And then I do 2 lives a month, so they get to interact with me. We get to
Right.
troubleshoot what they need, and so we do a lot of airbrush. But I show them how to mix airbrush with other things because people are like, well, I feel like for people who can't do art, you could do no airbrush, right? Because I set
Yeah.
up like a roadmap of how to get it together, and I show you how to use, you know, the plethora of things that you probably might have bought.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, most definitely. So you have an ebook on the manicuremaven.com called Straight Out of Beauty School. So tell us more about that book and what is the decision behind writing it?
Ah, okay, so I don't know if everybody knows, but I've graduated from college 3 times. So I actually have 2 masters and a bachelor's degree. And
Okay.
I wanted to go to beauty school to do nails. So I went to nail school at
Mhm.
night while I was getting my bachelor's degree. And then all through
Mhm.
my master's, I was working nails part time in a full time job. And
Right.
there was no like in school, of course, they're starting to do better now. Where they're like, this is how you run your business and this, that, and the third. But I know that some people are probably going to schools where they don't do the business highlight part of it. So straight
Mhm.
out of beauty school is basically a roadmap of, hey, maybe you have to start at a salon and you're trying to build your clientele, and it pretty much gives them like a gradual step onto like being a self-sustaining nail tech without having to work for somebody. It's like the entrepreneur's handbook for nail techs. This
Right.
is how you get started, and this is what you're going to experience straight out of school. Let me help you by just shining a light on what you'll experience and showing you how to get around that.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. So I want to go ahead and talk about also this as well. So last time we spoke, we talked about NCNA season 8, which we both competed in. We competed in the same
Right.
season.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So have you ever thought about like competing in other nail competition, or you just basically just like, kind of stopped, or like what's like the whole thing with that?
Yes. And what was it? Premiere Shows was here, and they had they had a competition. So I want to start doing competitions at shows. I did reserve that for 2024 because my online shop where I sell stencils and the classes has been so crazy that I really didn't have time to practice my
Hmm.
techniques and everything. So 2024, I'm gonna try to do at least two show competitions, just to get out there and see what it's like. Because I've never done an actual show competition. Then
Hmm.
the NTNA was like, I think I did that one, tried that one twice. So yeah, 2024, I'm like, it's competition, baby. I really want to get my Japanese nail certification, right? Because you can test for the I think it's JPNA. You
Yeah.
can, and as an international person, and I really want to find out like what do I need to do and do that one also because I feel like that would just be like a feather in my cap.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be cool. Like, if you hosted like an airbrushing like competition or something like that.
I listen because I want to do one. I just have to figure out the logistics of it because I want to have prizes and everything. And
Hmm.
so I have like a giant whiteboard of everything that I want to do. So it's like, oh, don't tell anybody. I'm gonna do so much stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got some stuff in the pocket. I promise.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. So you have a savings challenge workbook. So tell us about this book and the importance of saving and budgeting.
Oh, okay. So let me explain to you. I know like a lot of times when we get paid as nail people or beauty people, we get paid every single day, and then you get tips and
Right.
you blowing it. And so at the end of the year, you're like, dang, I gotta pay taxes. I gotta do this. I gotta do that because you didn't
Mhm.
stack more money up. And so
Right.
when I do it, all my tips, I'm not gonna hold you up. I keep all my tips. I don't spend them. Like I just
Mhm.
have wads of tip cash. So I just go through and save each one. And that way, when it comes to the end of the year for tax time, I have this money for tax time. When it comes to putting the money in my Roth IRA, guess what? I can just put the money in my Roth IRA, and it
Right.
just makes it so like I have a future because I'm 41. I'm not about to be working until I'm 67. I don't care what the federal government says. I'm not working to 67. They might
Mhm.
get 50. I might work till 50, but it won't be physical labor. And in
Right.
order to make sure that we're not physically laboring, we do have to store up some cash. So that's why I came up with the savings challenge to make it fun.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, most definitely. That's really, really cool. I want to get into your brand Glam Goodies. So you have your own business called Glam Goodies where you sell merch, press on
Mhm.
nails, airbrushing materials and things like that. So I want to go ahead and really ask, like, in your perspective, what has been some of the things that you've learned throughout the journey of having your own business?
Having my own business, and this is probably like my third business because, of course, no clients, the education, and then the online shopping store, nothing is set in stone. I think that's the biggest thing to learn with any part of business. None of it is set in stone. Like absolutely none of it. I have to be continually learning. When I started off with my store in like 2018, 2017, I only made a
Mhm.
thousand dollars for like that one year. And so
Mhm.
I literally spent more on keeping the store open than I did. And I just did bare bones, like, oh, nobody will care. They just want to get the stuff. And actually going through it and learning that you need to have search engine optimization. I got a coach to help me with my store. It coached me up to 5 figures, like legit 5 figures, because I was like, I don't know everything. I have to get somebody to help me with this, or I have to figure out a way to learn that way I know what I'm doing in order to get my store from its infancy
Right.
to as big as it is right now. And it's going to be even bigger because that's what I'm
Mhm.
working, I'm scaling up with it. The other thing about operating a store that I think nobody tells you is, at least for the first 5 years, it's really not that profitable. Like everything I would make, I would go turn it back around and buy inventory for like the next big thing that I was doing. So it's not that profitable to jump for like from jump, but it can be profitable if you continually like reevaluate it. I think I'm on my fifth store revision, just like the
Mhm.
way it looks, how the buttons work, and things like that.
Right.
Even if you taking all the pictures on the website, like you always have to reevaluate.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. Now, what would you say as far as airbrushing are the common mistakes?
Using gel polish and acetone is definitely not safe.
Yeah.
Um, Assuming that when you grab an airbrush and you've never used it before, that it's automatically going to come out perfect. It's like when
Mhm.
you first started nails and you started to try to sculpt. I know you didn't think like, oh no, I'm about to sculpt a flawless nail. You never picked up a nail brush before.
Right.
You have to learn whatever skill you're trying to use. I don't practice any skill on clients. So clients, so you can practice on me, one, because they don't want to be charged for it, and two, because they're like, well, I can just have to do stuff now, and if I don't like it, she can always take it off. That ruins your timing with your client. So I like to practice outside of my clients, because if you don't, like I said, you ruin your time, and then also your cost per hour that you generate, it goes down. So with any skill, especially with airbrushing, I feel like the biggest thing people make is, I'm gonna get the cheapest piece of equipment, and I'm gonna expect the best results. $100 airbrush machine and the $300 airbrush machine have two different types of results. I assure you, them $20 ones from Amazon and the $275 one that I have that I bought from Japan, two different types of results. Not all
Right.
airbrush machines are created equal. So I think the biggest mistake that people make with it is assuming that as soon as they pull it out the thing out the package, they never used it before. Airbrush ain't even charged. That it's just gonna come out like, oh, it's like magic. But it's not. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's practice.
Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. Because the thing is also too, and I like how you brought up the acetone and gel, because a lot of nail artists and nail techs was talking about the importance of safety and not using acetone and gel for airbrushing, because then it's toxic fumes, it's dangerous chemical fumes in the air, and you can get an
In
allergic
the air,
reaction.
attaching to your contacts and everything, and to your client's contacts. I have been okay. So in 2017, after I came back from Japan, I made all the lessons and I made free equipment videos. And I actually went through and used a bunch of different types of equipment. And I talked
Right.
about, this is what you do with this one. This is not what you do. And the quality of the equipment, the type of paints that you use, and everything else. And I also specifically reiterated this point. You are
Mm-hmm.
not to mix gel polish and acetone into anything and spray it into the air. And this was in 2017, 2018. And
Okay.
so now it's interesting that in 2023, everyone's like, why would you do that? I was already seeing it on YouTube then. That they were
Wow.
yes, I was already seeing it on YouTube then, because that was really when it was starting to come back. And I was like, there's I'm not a chemist, like my degrees aren't in science, but never in my life would I think that was okay. So
Mm.
I've been trying to educate the peoples for a long time about, the do's and don'ts and safety, because one, you don't want to use something and cause an allergic reaction on your client or yourself. And then two, because you don't really know what you're allergic to until you have an allergic reaction. And then two, you could also put that liability on yourself, because you're not using that product to the manufacturer suggested like directions. You're just using it
Right.
any other way. And so that makes you in trouble, not the manufacturer. It's not like the
Mm-hmm.
blue hair girl. Mm-mm. They
Mm-hmm.
have those, like remember when they started coming out with coffee and a lady had sued because she had got burnt by hot coffee, and then they had to put a caution hot sign on there,
I don't think I remember that incident.
right? Because I was at McDonald's and I'm like way older than everybody thinks I am. So that happened in the early '90s, and so
Mhm.
that's the reason why McDonald's has a caution hot sleeve and on the cup, because since they told you it's caution hot, they cannot be sued if you get scolded by the hot coffee,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
on nail products, when we get our directions and they have the trainings and everything else, if they don't have anywhere in any of their trainings or directions or anything that you're supposed to mix this with gel polish with acetone and spray it in an airbrush, guess what? You aren't covered. You
Mhm.
become liable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. And I like how I remember you posted a reel from Light Elegance, and one of the
mm-hmm.
founders said, like, use acrylic, airbrush paint. Don't
Yeah,
use
yeah,
gel
yeah.
paint at all,
Yeah.
because it'll cause an allergic reaction. And the thing is, like brands like Nail Order and Home of Nail Art, I like what they're doing as well, because they're telling people like, hey, don't use gel with your hands. You know what I mean? And the thing
You
is,
see so many videos with people touching it, and I'm like, don't touch it.
yeah. Yeah, and even I learned that personally. Like I used to do it with my hands. I was like, "Oh, I need to wear gloves," you know. And the thing is, I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm glad that more people are talking about like, "Hey, don't do this with your hands because it'll cause an allergic reaction." You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I think from my understanding, it's either Lotte Seymour or somebody else. They said like, the allergic reaction is irreversible.
Yes, it's irreversible. It's
Yeah, you can.
irreversible. And it can connect to dental products, because like a lot of dental products now are cured with the LED lamp when
Yeah.
they do your fillings and everything else. So then you won't even be able to get that.
Mm, yeah, implants and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really, really crazy. So I want to also get into as far as more with the airbrush. So what are some of the perks of doing airbrush nail art?
It's quick. Like a lot of times when I'll do designs that are like super detailed. Of course, I have clients that like, no, Chloe, we have time. I have money. Let's go. And I'm like, say less. But for my non-creative nail buddies, it's so quick and easy. It's a great upsell. It's coming back. I was around when Airbrush was out the first time. I've been around since before gel polish. So it's coming back. And funny thing is, when we first started airbrushing, we was using acrylic paint.
Hmm.
We didn't have air gel. Air gel is a brand that I do trust though. The one from Japan,
Mm.
air gel, and there it's by Airtex, and I do trust them because they've already done a lot of that testing
Right.
and things like that. So that one I 100% trust. But with the acrylic paint, like that was our initial. That's what we were using beforehand. That was
Yeah.
what we were using beforehand. So for the girlies that are like, oh, I just can't get it. It's too hard. I promise you, if you practice with it, you will be able to get it.
Right.
And it's simple. It's a great upsell. I mean, just putting over top of a little glitter, if you design some hearts, you in there 5 or 6 minutes, dollar per minute.
Mhm.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. But also too, what are like some of the techniques that nail techs and nail artists can use for like complex designs with airbrushing?
Oh, shading, highlighting, depth perception. So there's a ombre that I do with a circle, and it'll make it look like the circle is actually raised. I do it when I do space airbrush nail art. I've done
Hmm.
it on canvas before. I've done it bigger. So,
Hmm.
making the hearts look raised, the ombre fade on a heart, and then you reverse it at the bottom.
Hmm.
All of those techniques are like, it's just so detailed, and you're like, it's only three colors and one stencil.
Right.
Like it's giving everything you needed to give.
Yeah, absolutely. There has been a lot of talk in regards to safety. So how important, besides like the airbrush and gel aspect, how important is safety for nail techs and nail artists in general?
Safety is super important. So, like I said, I've been doing nails for 19 years, and I was mostly acrylic tech. So now I do wear long sleeves when I do acrylic because it does itch. Like the dust, if the dust gets on my arms, it itches, and I think that just
Mhm.
came with time because I've never been really allergic to anything. But as I got older, like my eczema got worse and stuff like that. So now, in order to not exasperate my condition, I will wear longer sleeves when I'm filing nails and stuff.
Right.
I think the whole you just need to be cognizant of what's going on as far as like your body and everything else. Pay attention to that
Right.
and how products may or may not be making you feel. So when I airbrush, I do wear my regular mask. I'm not wearing like a N95 mask or anything. And I
Hmm.
always wear gloves. I have worn gloves when servicing clients for the past 10 years since they became available. Like since I could go buy them at the shop, I've always
Right.
worn gloves. So I technically don't physically touch any clients, not when I do their nails or their feet. So
Mm.
I protecting yourself first is the best way to not have any allergic reactions.
Absolutely. Now, what are some things you like about the nail industry, and what are some things you think the nail industry could improve on?
I like that it's always something new. I mean, let me tell you something. It's always a new product, a new technique, like something to buy.
Right.
It's like nothing's the same. And then you have
Right.
so many people coming out that do like crazy stuff. Those graffiti nails you did the last week and the ones with the charms and the opulent nails. Like, come on. What other career can you even do that? None. Like maybe if you were like a computer coder, you could probably I don't know, make an AI program or something. I don't know. But I just like how it's never the same.
Right.
Like
Hmm.
19 years in it, it's never the same. Like it's so much information, techniques, like product available now that really wasn't available
Right.
when I first started. I think all we had was like OPI,
Yeah.
Tammy Taylor, back scratchers. I think those were like the main three.
Yeah, it was like OPI, Tammy Taylor, then we had LeChat, then we had
Mm-hmm.
CND, some of
Mm-hmm.
other brands.
C&D started picking up. Yep. Yeah. So what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of these brands start from the bottom. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. What do I think we need to change? I think we need to change like the actual aspect of inclusivity because technically it's not. Like I feel like they started, of course, when we were locked down and everybody was getting a little bit self-aware. And
Hmm.
then as soon as, we all got released back into our freedom, it's like, oh yeah, well, we kind of got a diversity, and it's really no diversity because even if you look across the major brands, there's a common theme there.
Yeah.
And uh, I'm
Mhm.
not gonna hold you up. I do work with majority brands that want to work with me and that I see me in. And if I don't see me in, then I'm like,
Mhm. Yeah.
because there's no shortage of brands. And typically, a lot of them have a majority of the same products. Some just come out with it later than others, right? So I think the false sense of exclusivity or inclusivity is really rampant.
Yeah.
And it just kind of felt like it was really fake to start. Like they really was like, oh, well, this is the bag now. So we're going to get this inclusive bag. And then it's just fake.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing too. Another thing too is credibility, and I think that's very, very important as well.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think us as Black women, especially us as Black American women, don't get enough
Hmm.
credit as far as the impact of the nail industry. You know what I mean? And also to, as far as with certain nail techs, I feel like some nail techs, nail artists don't get enough credit, as
Uh,
far as,
Same. I feel it. I feel
the uniqueness of technique, like Charmed by Sarah,
exactly.
Eva nails up, some of these people, Astro Wifey, Bernadette Thompson.
Right. They don't get like the credibility that they used to. Lauren Boyd.
Hmm.
It's so many who she's in Florida. Nails by Cookie. Nails by Cookie is a fave. Like, bro, she should be
Yeah,
doing.
Nails by Cookie. Hmm.
Yeah, she's a fave. She should be on every commercial. There's another young lady out of Houston. Finest Nails. She's in
Yeah.
Detroit. Come
Hmm.
on. Come on.
Hmm.
Hold on. Let me see. Because there's one Trilla Nails. Trilla Nails out of Houston. Like
Yeah,
her work.
Miami Ashley. Yeah,
Yeah, Miami Ashley. Like what? And Miami Ashley been educating the girls for years and they still don't want to
exactly.
give her flowers. So yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Like it's a lot of them like that really started at the top of the game and they're just not giving their just due respect. Even Stephen Henry. You know Stephen Henry?
I don't
He
think
did
so.
nails for Coco and all of them from Escape. No, not Escape. SWV. When she had the long
Mm,
nails, he did
mm,
their nails. Like he was a game changer. For
mm.
real. It hurts because these artists really put nails on the map before it was a thing. And
Yeah.
where are their flowers?
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. Especially, not only with like putting nails on the map, but also, exposing other nail artists to certain techniques that they could use
Yeah.
to help expand and apply it to their nail art. You know what I mean? And the thing is that, I really wish that these nail artists, like I said, Charmed by Sarah and many others had their credit, if anything, because they're the ones that have their own unique style and they've exposed their style to not only the world and especially with fashion but also to other nail artists like hey you can apply this and things like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm big on credibility, because I'm saying like hey
Definitely.
shout out to you for I've learned this technique from you, I'm
Yeah,
inspired,
definitely. Definitely. Because,
you know
there's no what was I trying to tell like another artist? There's not really any there's an originality, but there's also always hints of the past because what goes around comes around.
right,
So while of course I'm doing airbrushing, I've miniaturized things so they can be small on nails. I assure you that that technique was probably already done by a sign artist or a car detailer. Like those people already they changed the way airbrush was looked at anyway when they were doing car design. So it's
right,
not like my original thing, but I have basically conformed it to what I want it to be for nails
yeah, absolutely.
as it goes with my aesthetic and my client's aesthetic.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. And the thing is also too, I wish more smaller businesses were supported, especially Black nail businesses. I think
Yeah.
that's very important. You know what I mean? Because that's why I did the panel discussion with myself, Tiny, Tanika, and Mimi, and we were shouting out different businesses, especially
Yeah.
Mimi shouted you out as well. So I feel
Yeah.
like, definitely Black owned nail business should be supported more.
Yeah. And I think what they need to do, especially with supporting us, is just like with anything else, we're only singular artists. So like I'll have like static in my or like on my Google. She only takes one person at a time because I really do love the fact that I can service one person at a time. So we also need to give our artists grace. And then
Right.
we also have to recognize that these people are already been like I already been in the game 19 years. So maybe yes, you just found me and you're a little upset because can't take anybody new. But a lot of people have already been doing this for a long time. Like
Right.
we've already paid our dues when it comes to that time part of it. So maybe we can't take new clients, or maybe we are more expensive, but we got those credentials that time and
Hmm.
that education behind us. So we need to be given grace when it comes to having our own people schedule with us, and then also with working with others, because we're our own priority, but each person is of course their own priority. So we need to, just give ourselves grace.
Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. I totally agree with that wholeheartedly. And I definitely also agree and believe that we shouldn't see each other as Black people as competition in the nail community. You know what I mean? We should all be learning from each other as a community. And I definitely want to, ask this question: how vital is for the Black nail community to support Black-owned nail businesses?
Super vital, because I feel like a lot of times we are our biggest advocate and asset. And yes, I
Mhm.
make like stuff for everybody to use, but
Right.
seeing people use my stuff, seeing my people shop me out, it kind of keeps you going in a different way. And then even
Absolutely.
more so, seeing my nail friends who are the same as me say,
Hmm.
"Girl, you did that. Oh, I learned this from Chloe, blah, blah," and not trying to take it and say, "Oh no, I came up with this with myself," because it's really not a competition. Like I said before, everything that we've done, somebody's already done that before us.
Exactly.
It one way or another, one artistry form or another. So seeing
Hmm.
us support us is a different kind of love. A lot of times when I go to these different nail classes, international and otherwise, I am the only Black person there.
Mm.
When I went to a hands-on class in Florida,
Mm.
only Black person there. Only
Mhm.
one. Only one was me. And it's like, man, I actually would like to see more of my people come to these classes that literally show you so much. It's a wealth of information. It's an investment, and that energy that you get from going to a nail class is explosive. It changes
Absolutely.
how you see the game after. So yeah, I definitely think that we need to support us first and foremost, because
Hmm.
that's we're
Totally.
our community.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely, totally. Now, if you had a top five list of your favorite nail artists, who would they be and why?
All right. So Lauren Boyd, Graffiti Nails, because like her mind is insane. Her mind is insane. Nails by Cookie,
Hmm.
because her mind is also like what? How do you even come up with these concepts? And
Right.
her work is so clean. The edges, I like crisp, clean edges. When you look at Graffiti's work, when you look at Cookie's work, edges is it's fire. It's clean. Um, Trilla Nails,
Hmm.
because her work is clean and her visuals top shelf visuals, top. Just
Right.
sprinkle me with all that magic. Um, who else? Astro Wifey.
Hmm. Astro Wifey.
Astro Wifey. She was the first one that I ever seen that ever did that like did so much art on a nail. Like after I
Hmm.
seen her do it, I was like, then I started seeing more people that just like little portraits on nails, and like they were so good.
Right.
And yeah, I think that's. I mean, I know there's more, but I can't think of it. Denise out of Florida. No,
Hmm.
Denise John, right? Because she does
Hmm.
like out of the box type stuff.
Oh yeah,
And you're
Denise
just like,
John.
yeah, you're just like, how do
Mm.
you get to put that together? She's
Yeah,
got to,
she's a YouTuber, I think. Yeah,
yeah,
Denise
yeah, yeah,
John.
yeah. So I
Hmm.
don't know if she actually does clients, but I just came across her videos like random, and I was like, I never even thought to put that stuff together like that. Like, what? It's mind blowing. She does very good detailed videos too. So yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, Nails by Cookie. She's very, very talented. Like
yeah.
she really
Oh,
gets her
and
own.
Spifter.
Yeah, Spister. Yeah.
Oh my god! If I
Right.
ever get to meet her, I'm just gonna probably gonna like melt into a pile of like, ah.
Yeah, yeah. I've interviewed her, on my podcast. So
I'm
yeah,
gonna
she's
have to go
really,
back
really
through the
cool.
episode. Yeah, yeah.
And she's like
Because
one
she's a
of the
graphic
first.
designer.
Huh? What do you say?
She's a graphic designer too.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. And also a fashion designer too. And
Huh?
the thing is, she, talked about like she got into NFTs and utilizing
Hmm.
NFTs, for clients and stuff like that. So, we talked a little about that. So yeah, she's really, really cool people.
Yeah, like so smart,
Mm,
so smart. Like it just shows you like the way your art can get you into so many things and so many places, and all of it be creative.
yeah, absolutely, totally. Now, in your Instagram stories, showed your fitness journey. So with being a nail tech, how important is it for nail techs and nail artists to maintain a healthy lifestyle? And what has been things that you've learned during your fitness journey?
listen, it health is wealth. I know everybody's like said that on the internet, but it's literally true. Health is actually
Right.
wealth. I feel better when I do working out in the morning as opposed to the end of the day. I try to eat way more healthier during the day just because I used to do it a lot of time, when the pandemic came, kind of was sitting at home chilling, got a few extra pounds on me. And I always used to work out even before that. Like I always had a
Right.
kickboxing class or something that I would do before that. And not just for weight management, but it helps you clear your head. And like I
Right.
feel like your ideals and your energy starts flowing better when you do, physical activity. Also, we sit all day. You got to
Yeah.
exercise these joints and these bones so that later on, when we, in retirement ages, we're not like hobbling to get on the cruise ship. We can like run on that thing and do the excursions.
Right.
It's very important to my mental health to eat good food, quality food. Like you won't find me ordering out that much. I do cook at home, crock pot,
Hmm.
instant pot, whatever. I'm gonna put a stew or something together real quick, just
Ooh.
because I want something quick, but I also
Yeah.
want something healthy because I
Yeah.
also want you feel good when you're working. And since we work with so many different people and energies every day, I need my inside to be clean, just
Right.
like I need my outside energy to be clean. So it's very important for me to like stay on that healthy side, drinking all my water, drinking my green tea in the morning, just because it's important and it just makes
Yeah.
me feel good. And I always want to start the day off feeling good because that really does set the tone for the whole day.
Mm. Yeah. I always work on like hydrating myself, and things like
Hmm.
that. Like water. You know what I
I
mean?
know, I know. One of
Yeah.
my
Healthy
clients
skin.
made a cup.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
She had it made for Christmas for me. I'm like, you got my picture on my cup?
Yeah, that's really really cool. Now, what's like some like your favorite meals to cook?
Stew, anything I could put all in a pot at one time. So, like today, I'm about to make some cabbage soup in the instant pot just because it's like
Ooh,
cool here. So, look at some cabbage soup. It's warm.
ooh, that sounds
Got some
good.
Italian bread. That'll be good, and it's healthy because it's cabbage, some carrots, some onions, a little garlic, some tomatoes. It's gonna be great.
Mhm. Yeah.
So or I'll do like a full week. Well, I'm not a big fan of like food juice, so I'll do like 3 days of salads, and then by the time I get to Wednesday, then I'll do 3 more days of salad, and I'll have apples sliced up and little snacks.
Mhm.
If I prepare for it, then I won't go to the vending machine and get trash snacks. I'll eat my apples with the lemon on it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Eat my celery because it's just healthier. And like I said, feel good. My work is different when I feel good, other than when I don't feel good. I
Right.
try to sleep my 8 hours, so even though I get up so early, I still make sure I try to get into bed at 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
Just the normal stuff. It's important.
Mhm. Totally. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Now, how would you define success?
Success for me is not just reaching my goal, but exceeding my goal. So I had made a
Mhm.
goal for my store um, for this year, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, I want to make this much money or whatever. And so I just kept working, putting out the content, packing the order, shipping, things started coming together. So I
Right.
already met and exceeded that goal. So like these next 2 months,
Mhm.
might as well just add a couple more thousand to
Right.
that. Blow it out the water. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Let's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
for the year. And also it just I don't know. It's like a sigh of relief. I like checking boxes. So once I get
Absolutely.
something done, you check the
Mhm.
box, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. And
Mhm.
it kind of
Right.
encourages me to do even more because I didn't check that box. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, well, since that's off the list, let's add something new. It just gives me like a little energy feeling like, oh, okay, well, I can do all things.
Mhm. Yeah. Now, if you had one valuable piece of advice for up and coming nail techs and nail artists, what would it be?
Take classes. Take
Mm.
classes outside of your area. Take classes of things that you're uncomfortable with. Take classes from
Mhm.
people whose work that you like. Make sure
Right.
you vet who you're going to take a class from. If you look
Mhm.
at their profiles or look at their websites and don't have anything talking about classes, or you don't see them talking about classes, I wouldn't take classes from them. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I feel like, especially with new nail techs, you want to get in and make all the money up like when you start, but you kind of gotta pace yourself and take classes. Also, you don't have to do every single service that you learned in school. I do not do water manicures. I haven't done water manicures in years. Like
Mhm.
maybe right when gel polish came out, I cut it out because I didn't like doing that service. It took too long. It wasn't that
Right.
much value add. And then 2, 3 days later, they've been washing dishes like my polish chip. Like, yeah, but you don't wear gloves. So you don't also have to do every single service. I would say, especially when you're first starting out, and I talk about it in that book, Straight Out of Beauty School. When you're first starting out, start off with the services that you know that you do really well and can make you a lot of money. And then while you're working on new skills, you have something that's keeping you propped up and cushioned. Then
Right.
you start exploring taking classes. Like I said, in-person classes, not everything is on YouTube. And I assure you, not everybody on YouTube is following the actual manufacturer's directions. Take in-person classes. They have classes by different brands and this, that, and the third
Hmm.
in order to sharpen your skills. There is no
Right.
person that starts in any kind of trade or craft that knows every single thing that they need to know when they start.
Right.
So you don't have to always know all the answers. If my clients ask me something about nails and I don't know, I'm like, I don't know that right now, but I can always check and I'll get back to you. I never try to portray like I have all the answers. I have all the answers for what I know. Whatever I don't know, I have to do some research and get back to the person. So you don't always have to be right and you don't always have to have all the answers and take classes.
Mm. Last but not least, where could people find you on social media? How can people support Glam Goodies?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at glamnails210, and that's nails with a Z. All my links are in the bio. Like I don't play around. I got systems in place. All the links in the bio. If you want to take airbrush classes, click the link in the bio. If you want to buy stencils, you got to click that link in the bio. Oh, I'm on YouTube too, but
Mhm.
everything is at the link in the bio. I promise you, I am not trying to keep any secrets. It's always at the link in the bio.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Chloe, for jumping on to the show. Your work is absolutely great. Glad to have you back on the show as well. I love what you're doing. I really enjoyed our conversation. This is really, really cool. And I like how you're dropping gems as well. So, it's definitely much needed for the nail community. So thank you so
Mhm.
much.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys for watching. It's always fun to, work with your people.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on my social media platforms and visit my website, ASIATHABIRD.com, and be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care, stay healthy, and stay beautiful. Bye bye.